As debate over the land north of Pinecrest Junction and Woodbine continued, businesses began taking to the streets protesting the high cost to import their goods and lamenting over the desire to create industrial spaces to produce their goods locally. The citizens agreed, believing that producing the goods locally would benefit the growing cities for the tax income it would generate, as well as the decrease in the cost of goods for those very same residents. Hearing this, the mayor of Bunyan's Rest quickly took action, providing land to business owners to rapidly expand, resulting in multiple mineral mines, smaller food factories, and two major industrial tycoons. Heyo and welcome to another episode of Pine Harbor County, where we will use and abuse the new operating district mechanic that was introduced in Cities Skylines 2. I kind of like what we did here in the Maplewood episode. This small rural town just came out so darn good, and I like the quieter aesthetic that it provides our build. If you happen to miss this episode, I'll leave an info card in the top corner so you can watch it, or you can find the entire Pine Harbor County playlist linked in the description below. In today's episode, I want to try and tackle some of this industrial demand that we are finding here. My hope is that if we import less, the citizens will have more money, and thus our higher density residential will start to finally level up to level 5, because I want the signature buildings to decorate in Bunyan's Rest. We will also take a brief moment to add one signature building to Maplewood, as we had a phenomenal comment in the last episode that led to some juicy lore that I just really want to tie into this county. So let's start with that, and then we will jump right into today's build. Before we begin a massive industrial expansion, I want to do a small cinematic flyover and introduce some new lore to our build. But before we jump into that cinematic, I do just want to take a moment and say thank you to Neil for providing such a great idea and an enjoyable piece of lore to the county. You're the best. So thank you again, Neil. As Maplewood grew into a thriving small town, unexplainable happenings began occurring in the area. For some, it was as simple as a flock of crows circling for hours above their house and missing persons, while others experienced more chilling situations. It was one such resident who took a notice to these unexplainable mysteries and began documenting them, spinning the tales into grand adventures. Soon, these mysteries became published works that would circulate the bookstores of Pine Harbor County and even beyond its borders. The mystery novels would come to be known as the Maplewood Mysteries series. Alrighty, let's jump into the bulk of today's build now. If you enjoyed that little cinematic and that added addition of lore, please let me know down in the comments. In the meantime, I want to come in and start building in some roads right here, as we're going to add a heavy amount of industry in this section here, a little over here, and even more up here. So let's jump in first and let's get some roads in on this area right up here. Okay, I think that will be pretty good for now as far as it goes for a road layout. All right, so the next thing I want to do is add in some specialized industry. Now, we have so much deficit in a lot of our material goods. But what I would like to do in these areas is kind of focus on electronics first because I wanted Pine Harbor County to have a massive electronic exportation. And I also want the rocks to decorate this area. When we come in here, electronics are actually created from, I believe that's minerals and plastics. Plastics are going to be taken care of by the petrochemicals and just chemicals in general, but the minerals can come right from the rock itself. And if we come into our specialized industry tab, rocks don't actually need well, I guess stone, technically. Rocks, stone, all the same. They don't need a spot, a designated ore area. So they don't need to be placed on top of these blue spots here throughout the county. So I thought this would be a very good way of sort of abusing the specialized industry to not only decorate a little bit, but also get some good stuff in here. And what I do actually want to do really fast, because we have the ability to place zoning beneath roads. I just want to come up like that with a road so we have a little bit more generic zoning. All right, let's jump on in and let's mine some rocks. Okay. I think I like how this is coming up for the most part. We'll be adding more throughout, so this is just for this area here. All right, next up is adding in some industrial manufacturing. So this is some of the generic zoning that's going to really help decrease that deficit on our material goods. And you'll notice there's a little bit of underground water here. I'm really not going to worry about that, in all honesty. This is going to become polluted here. This one already is polluted, but I had no intentions of really adding in any underground water extraction services. What are they actually called? Pumping stations. So let's come on in and let's dot in a little bit of very specific zoning. And let's also get some offices in here as well. Okay, I think that's coming out pretty good so far. I also think it's a good start to boosting that industry. I think though, got to add just a little bit in here, so let's let's do that really quickly. But then let's move on to the next sector of industrial expansion. Okay, so the next spot I want to work on is actually right here. Way back when we started the industrial area for Bunyan's Rest, we added in a little bit of opportunity here to put some industrial space. So now I do want to come in and just simply dot in that, maybe not right here, but I do want to start dotting in some of that zoning to give this place a little bit of life. Nice. I just love how this game can make industry look so darn good. Like a couple of dotted skyscrapers, a few smokestacks, this chungus of a coal power plant in the background, and it looks so good. All right, so sector 2 of our industrial build is going to be right up in this area here. And I actually want to start this by taking advantage of that mod we installed with the extended road tools and making layers of land. So let's come on in first and let's actually pick a spot of land, increase our brush, and kind of level that out a little bit. So this should work for just a general frame. And now let's also come on in. Oop, wrong button. Let's come on in and let's create our road network. Okay, so I think this should do for just a basic road. We'll add more in, but for now, I think this will work just fine. All right, so next, I do want to take the opportunity to place in some unique factories. And the two I want to place are the remaining two that I think we're going to unlock for Pine Harbor County. I don't want to unlock Pharma because I'm actually kind of saving this for a more specific future series down the road. So let's come on in with the oil refinery as well as the vehicle factory. And these are going to fit just very, very nicely right here and then right here. That is how you can tell that I kind of planned these out a little bit, these episodes. So what I'd like to do next is I actually kind of want to upgrade one of these roads because I realized that the traffic would flow better if I turned this into a one-way road, but then that can't get over here, so never mind. We will actually leave that as a two-lane road. And then I also want to come in and I do want to add a decent amount of parking in here. Obviously, the workers would need a place to park. So to me, it makes sense that we would add the chunkiest of parking. What I'd really wanted to do was try to scooch it right in here. But that fits so perfectly that I almost can't even fit a road in. So we'll leave this area here actually, and we will just place... That also fits really well. Oh, that kills me. We'll just place some large parking lots right in here. Okay, did a little bit of experimenting there. Primarily, I just wanted to see what a chunkier parking lot would look like. I did not like that it dwarfed, even being on a higher elevation, the parking garage was dwarfing the vehicle factory a little bit. So we came back to this design, and let's just bring our parking on up. and clean up terraforming, maybe just a little bit. And yeah, I think that adds quite a bit of nice chunk up to this area. So next, I do want to come in and I want to use the specialized industries once again for dual purposes. I want it to decorate the area up a little bit, as well as actually have some practical production values to it. So let's come on in, let's add a couple of additional roads, and let's place down some more rock mining. Okay, I think we'll work with this for now. I like that you got the big uh, drilling machine back here. I'm not a huge fan of it up in the front, but I think I'll leave it for now and see how this particular mining area levels up. Perhaps as it hits level 5, this will get replaced with a different kind of asset, and we'll go from there. Worst case scenario, if it doesn't go away, I'll just extend the node here and here. We'll have a little bit of free space behind the zoning here, but at least then we can ex-nay this piece here, because I don't want this in the front and another one in the back. But let's see how it levels up a little bit. All right, the very last thing I want to do in this area, in good old Sector 2 of our little industrial expansion is put in some zoning. So, yes, I did add one more off camera here because I couldn't resist. But let's come on in and let's dot in some zoning because we do still need that generic industrial manufacturing, or else the extractor buildings really only do, they only solve part of the problem. So let's come on in and work on putting in some buildings. Okay, let's kind of scroll on in and take a look at this. I was a little worried with how this area would look in particular. So I just kind of want to come in here. And I'm aiming for an industrial office vibe. Which, these are very uniform. Let me know down in the comments if you like this. I think assets like this one definitely are industrial office vibes, but I think a lot of this too is going to depend on how much it levels up. And then this area here, I definitely don't like, so we're going to delete this. We'll leave this area blank right now. We're going to keep this factory right here. So let's put that down in the comments as well. If you have an idea as to what we can place in this lowered area right here, put it down in the comments. If you see a suggestion that you enjoy, give that comment a thumbs up. That way we know how many people like that idea, and we'll look into implementing it. Okay. Now with everything kind of placed in and grown, let's jump into a beautifying the build time lapse and honestly use and abuse that good old line tool. I'll see everyone in a few moments. Alrighty, so that was actually a bit more of a basic sort of beautifying the build time lapse. As I was going through, I was realizing I liked the dirty industrial look and a little bit of chaotic greenery would go well. I suppose just so we dotted a lot of forests in the areas itself. Anywho, if you enjoyed today's episode, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing if you are new to the channel. We post new City Skylines content every Thursday and Manor Lords every Monday. So, until next time, I hope everyone has a phenomenal week.